Hello, everyone. This is Jim Escott. I'm the Michigan State Training Director for the Knights of Columbus, and I'm here today to give you an overview of the KofC email system, which is hosted by Gmail. So this is just a quick overview for anyone who's got an account. We're going to talk about who's got an account, how do you get your password if you don't know it, how do you log in, and some other things you can do once you have this Gmail account. So let me do this. Okay, who has an account? Basically, every council has 4 accounts. The Grand Knight has one, financial secretary, program director, and membership directors. And the format for the email account or the Gmail account name is GK for Grand Knights, FS for financial secretaries, PD for program directors, and MD for membership directors, followed by your council number. So if your council number is 3 digits, it's GK123@mikfc.org. If your council number is a 4-digit, it's FS1234@mikfc.org. And if your council number is a 5-digit, it's PD12345@mikfc.org. So that's how that works. District deputies also have a email account. There's our DDYYY, where the YYY stands for their district number, 201 or 126 or 804, whatever the district number is, at mikfc.org. And then all state officers and directors also have an email address, and theirs is a little different. It's the first letter of their first name, followed by a period, followed by their last name. So as an example, my name is Jim Escott. My state officer email address is j.escott, ESCOTT, at mikfc.org. If you want to reach our state deputy, Walter Winkle, his is w.winkle@mikfc.org, and you can understand how it goes from there. Now, the one thing that I did want to point out for Grand Knights and program directors, due to youth protection requirements, when you fill out your forms 185 and 365, put your name and address and all those things in there. Please use your personal email address when you fill out those forms. Do not use these email addresses. It's a requirement for a youth protection certification. Okay, how do you get your password? The easiest way to do it is to get it from your predecessor. So if you're a brand new Grand Knight, you should go to your predecessor, the guy that had the role before you, and say, hey, I need to log into to my Grand Knight email address. What's the password? And he should be able to give it to you. If you're a program director, same thing, financial secretary, et cetera, et cetera. If for some reason he's not available, or he forgot it, or he died, or moved out of state, or whatever the reason is, you can always request it to be set by following these instructions here. You go to the Michigan State website, you click on email support, you open a ticket, you fill in all the blanks, hits create a ticket, which submits it, and you go from there. Before we move on, we're going to go through that in more detail in the following pages. First of all, as people transition from a current officer to the next officer, there is a transition time where you two are really working together to transfer things. And I think it's important to realize that you can share your passwords with your successor to aid in this transition. I know most of the time people think passwords are supposed to be secret. You're not supposed to share them. And for all intents and purposes, that is still true. But if you're a Grand Knight and you're going to stop being a Grand Knight in another month, and you need to bring the next Grand Knight up to speed, it's okay for that month to share that password so that both of you can get in there. You can show him what's in there. He can take a look at it. He may have questions for you and whatever. So please feel free to share your password in those times of transition. It's very helpful for that new person to bring them up to speed. I also think it's important for Grand Knights and district deputies that if they're going to be sick or unavailable for an extended period of time, greater than a week, the business of the council and the business of the district still needs to go on. So please make sure that you can share your passwords with, for Grand Knights, would be your deputy Grand Knight, and for district deputies, that would be your district warden, so somebody can keep a track of that email, make sure that critical things are handled and everything goes on appropriately. So please keep all that in mind. So let's talk about resetting your password. First thing you do is you go to the Michigan website, www.mikfc.org. You can see it listed at the top of this page. You then come down and you can see down here near the bottom under systems, there's this little icon here for Google Mail. You click on Google Mail. Excuse me, I'm sorry. You click on email support. That's what it says here. And what you'll see next is you'll see this screen come up. And what you do once you get to this screen is all you have to do is click on open a new ticket. Once you've done that, this screen will come up and you start just filling in the blanks. So personal email address, my personal email address is jim@escottfamily.com. Now the reason why you need this is because if you're going to have your password reset, we're going to send your new password to your personal email address. We can't send it to your Knights of Columbus email because you can't get in and look at it there anyway. So please make sure that you put that in there. Put in your name so we know who's making this request. Put in your phone number. That's not always required, but it's important. Well, it is required, but sometimes if we have questions, we might call you just to make sure that you're the right person and we know what's going on. And then you have to pick your help topic. There's a little drop-down box that has two different codes here. One says you have an access issue, which could be just about anything. And the other one is to do a password reset request. So just click on password reset request. And once you do that, then some additional detail shows up in your screen. So as you can see up here, we've picked the password reset request. Now we need to do a issue summary. Very easily, just say, please reset my password. That's all you have to do. You put in your MIKFC email address that you need to have the password reset for. So that's what I did here. And then there's a text field that you should feel free to put anything you want in there. Now, typically, if you're just going to have your password reset, there's no real reason to put anything in here. This is more if you have some sort of other access issues. You can say the details of what that access issue is. Once you're done filling in your text field, you then do this robo check here where it's got this number down here in the left box, and you have to just rekey that into this box here on the right. Make sure it's uppercase letters are uppercase in both cases to make sure that it matches. And then all you have to do is click on create ticket. And once you click on create ticket, it takes a second or two, but then it comes up and gives you a note like this. It says, Jim Escott, thank you for contacting us. The support ticket request has been created and a representative will be getting back to you shortly. Now you should receive an email to your personal email account, typically within 24 hours. The team's pretty good at responding to these right away, and it's going to give you what your new password is. But please be patient. If the people doing this password resets, if it happens to be a holiday or it's their anniversary or they're out of town for a weekend or something, it may take a couple days to get taken care of. But I think 95% of the time, those get reset within 24 hours. Okay, the next thing we got to do is now that you got your email address and your password, how do you log in? So here's what you do. You go to the Michigan State website, you click on Google Mail this time, enter your login ID and password, click next, and poof, you're in. So now once you're in for the first couple times, you can also just save the URL for the email login screen into your favorites, and it might save you a few steps in getting in from time to time, but you can kind of cover some of that as you go along. So here's the steps. Go to the Michigan State website, same as we did before, mikfc.org. And instead of clicking on email support, this time you click on Google Mail, okay? And once you do click on that, the first time you get in, you'll see the screen over here to the left where you put your email address in here. Now remember the note, don't put the mikfc.org in. So as an example, if you're a Grand Knight for Council 1234, you just put in GK1234, nothing else, and then click next. Once you click next, it's going to come over here and show you the screen to the right. which gives you your email address here near the top. And I ask you to put in your password. Enter the password that you have, and then click Next. And once you click Next, you're in. So now, what are some of the things that you can do with your Gmail? What I did was I actually listed a bunch of things here, and I went out to the internet and I collected a bunch of YouTube videos that are instructional, which tell you how to do some of these sorts of things. So basically, the main function of Gmail is to read and write emails. So there's a link here for a YouTube video, which kind of gives you introduction to Gmail and how to use Gmail. So it'll walk you through that. um, you can also forward your emails to your personal email account. That way, you only need to check one account to read your emails. There's instructions here on how to do that. You can store documents to the Google Drive. I think everybody has. I think it's 15 gig. I don't know what it is for sure, but you can save documents out there for yourself. The other way that this helps is, whoops, I got to go backwards here. Um, let's say you're a grand knight and you've every time you get a form, you should place it up here in your Google Drive, so it's there. And then when you finish your term as Grand Knight and you're ready to pass on your email account to your successor, you can say, here's the email account. And oh, by the way, on the Google Drive is saved all the forms that we submitted over the last 2 years. And they're all up here in Google Drive. And let me show you where they're at. So it's a great way to pass on information to your successor. So he has that information available and it makes that transition much, much smoother. There's a calendar function in Gmail for you to use. Here's a YouTube video on how to use that. You can have your email forwarded to your iPhone if you have an iPhone. I find that really handy because then no matter where I am, if I leave the house and don't have my computer with me, I still have access to my email and I can read it 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, wherever I'm at. If you don't have an iPhone and you have an Android phone, here's a different link on how to set that up on an Android phone. And then, if you've got all this and you want to do some other fancy things, here's some 10 other tips and tricks for Gmail for you to use for whatever you need to. Now, while I've shown you a lot of functionality here and lots of different things you can do, I do want to ask you to be careful that you don't over personalize this email account. Because remember, if you set it up with all sorts of fancy bells and whistles for the way that you want it, and then 6 months from now, you leave that office and you give that email account to the next guy, he may not like things set up as personally as you did, and he may not also be as computer literate as you are, and he may have trouble resetting things back to the defaults if that's something he wants to do. So just kind of keep that in mind. And that's pretty much it. So thank you all for listening, and I hope you found this helpful.